Afghan civilians continue to face the brunt of over a decade-long presence of U.S.-led forces in their country.
These 4 children were killed by American forces. These would be the latest in a series of civilian deaths at the hands of American forces here in Afghanistan. Recently, 3 Afghans were killed by a U.S. airstrike in southern Afghanistan in the same region. And these civilian deaths have greatly angered local people in these parts of Afghanistan, as well as the Afghan President Hamid Karzai, who has repeatedly condemned these deaths, and he said that such civilian deaths at the hands of American forces, especially by their nighttime operations, would not be accepted and tolerated anymore by the Afghan people.
This, as U.S.-led forces in Afghanistan have long claimed that the target of their attacks is Taliban militants, adding that their drones are accurate enough to target exactly where the militants are. But, ignoring the claims, in most cases, innocent civilians have been the main targets. The U.S.-led forces' attacks on the so-called militants range targets from wedding ceremonies in small villages to schools, street vendors, and villagers collecting firewood in the mountains. But the more saddening part is the reaction by Afghan officials, on top of whom the country's president Hamid Karzai, who merely condemns the attacks on his countrymen. During the occupation years, the man of strong condemnations has failed to protect the civilians against American drone strikes in various parts of the country.
Actually, if you look at the history, the past 11 years of occupation in Afghanistan, this is not the first time that this incident has happened. It has happened many, many times, and it has come to the point that Afghan people and neither the so-called government in Kabul cannot take it.
And the Afghans are becoming increasingly outraged at the seemingly endless number of the deadly assaults. Although drone strikes were started during former President George W. Bush, they have now turned to Obama's weapon of choice. As a result, the number of estimated deaths from the Obama administration's killer drones is up to 2,617, more than 4 times the death toll during the Bush era.